Today, we're gonna be talking about the legendary LC and going over some questions and answers from you, the viewers, on this very special model. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like Lexus content. Okay, let's just get into the questions. So number one is the LC 500 a true sports car or just a heavy grand tourer? Ooh, that's a good question. I think my perspective on this has changed over the years. I do think it is a really great grand tourer and still a pretty good sports car. Let me explain. If you just read just the weight of the vehicle, I mean, it's 4,300 pounds. So if you look at just the weight and the power output of just over 470 horsepower, you might think that's not very sports car-like. However, if you go watch some of my older videos, click below or to the side or however you have to do that, you'll see every time I've driven an LC, the get up and go aspect of it has impressed me. And that is more of that sports car thing. Also, it has the best transmission ever in Lexus world, in Lexus lineup. And that to me gives it a little bit more of that athleticness. Now, fit, finish, and comfort-wise, that's what makes it a great grand tourer. So I guess if I had to answer your question, I would say it's more of a grand tourer. Question number two, why should someone buy the naturally aspirated V8 over the V6 hybrid, which didn't have as big as sales? So for sure, in my time with Lexus, over the years, we would always sell 6 to 10 LC 500s with the V8 every year. And in recent months and years, it's been even hotter than ever. The hybrid, I think I've only seen 2 come through this dealership at least. And that's for a few reasons. One is, even though that hybrid powertrain is very special, it's actually pretty unique versus other hybrid powertrains. And that's because it's like a 3-stage, I guess, multi-faceted powertrain that does things that other hybrids don't. Still, the biggest emotional draw to the LC was that V8. It took 5 years for the engineers to perfect that exhaust note. Like imagine a team of engineers sitting in a lab in Japan, and their one job is to make sure that this car sounds in perfect octaves to the ear as it's revving. That was a big plus for the LC 500. So that's why we sold more V8s. Okay, let's talk about ownership costs. Is the LC 500 reliable enough to be daily driven, or does it have hidden issues that might pop up as you put mileage on it? So working at a dealership, I have a pretty good front seat to how often I see LCs come in. I already have one guest in mind. He is a loyal legend guest of ours here at Performance Lexus. He's had ISFs, he's had LC 500s, and he always puts a lot of mileage on it. He will tell you the only thorn in his side, and he knew it going into it, was the tires, because he's replacing those tires every 30,000 K-ish. And for him, that's a couple times a year, it seems. So tough to say otherwise. I mean, in terms of reliability, the only other thing that I saw was when the convertible first came out. So the first year of the convertible, sometimes the way the mechanism worked, there was a few little clips and things that would have to be readjusted, but otherwise it's been super solid. So if you're gonna daily drive it, just know that you are going to go through tires. And if you use the Michelin tires, although they have the best grip, they're also a little bit softer. You can find a harder compound tire that might last longer, but then you don't get that grip if you're pushing the car. So keep that in mind. And by the way, you can't rotate them at all. So it is gonna be, when it's time for tires, it's time for tires. Other than that, the maintenance is just very typical to your Lexus vehicle. So every 6 months or 8,000 K, you're gonna bring it into the dealership. And sometimes it's an oil change, sometimes it's not. It kind of staggers that. So you might have one service bill that's like $170, and then the next one be like $350, and then back down to $170. Just depends on your driving habits. But overall, very low to maintain, especially considered the other vehicles in that class. Think of the Porsche 911, think of the Mercedes AMG GT or the GTC. All of those have much higher maintenance costs. So the LC is definitely the winner there. Can you actually fit anyone or anything in the back seats? I always get this question when I do a video on the convertible, because you can see the seat in all its glory in the back. You cannot really fit a person back there. I mean, if you have small children and you want to put them back there for like a ride around the block. I'm 6'1". When I'm in that front seat, it is right up against that rear seat. So it's just there for pretty much insurance purposes at this point. I do love putting my briefcase back there, like, you sit down, you can just like throw it in the back, or a hoodie, like I'll keep a hoodie back there in case I need it. I know you probably don't think of me wearing a hoodie, but I am a normal person sometimes, not during the week though. And it is good for things like that. In terms of luggage, like if I was going to Home Depot, I wouldn't be putting stuff in there, that's for sure. Is the Mark Levinson system a mandatory upgrade? Yes. End of story. Next question. Well, I only say yes because that car is built so well for the Mark Levinson sound system, and you're already getting this beautiful handcrafted interior. You're getting that beautiful, perfected V8 sound. To add to the experience, because sometimes I just want to listen to the music, the Mark Levinson really gets you there. Okay, time for some buying advice questions. What is the Inspiration Series or a bespoke build? What makes them different than the regular LC? Ugh, that is a long question. So both of these, hard to get or impossible to get right now. The Bespoke was a really cool program. I did a video on the LC Bespoke and how to build one and some of the options. It went viral and I met so many cool LC prospective LC owners because of that video, because when they would go to their local dealer, they found that there were still some unanswered questions, and then they would come across my video, they would reach out and I would walk them through it. Bespoke was cool because it was Lexus saying, how do you want your LC? And we let you handpick the wheels, the carbon fiber, you could handpick the way that the seats were. Did you want sport touring? Did you want a spoiler? Did you want all these things? And then they put a badge on it saying, okay, here's a badge saying that you built this, just like a custom made suit. And by the way, sometimes if you did it right, it was cheaper than the normal one. And I have a couple guests who probably watch this channel who know that that is sometimes the case. And that was my favorite program with the LC. It is no longer. It abruptly sunsetted in fall of 2025. And I did have some guests that had to switch theirs to a normal order. The Inspiration Series is even more unique because most dealers will get one or less of these. And this is like a hand put together package of LC bits and pieces. It's numbered, it's got crazy resale value, it's very special and unique. The one for 2026, who one of you viewers got from us, which I thought was really excited about, had even a unique front bumper that had canards on it, and Lexus doesn't usually do that. It's almost always a unique color. There was one a couple years ago that had this color called structural blue, which was a blue that didn't actually have any blue in it. It just reflected blue light and it made it look blue. And it's those types of little special things that make the Inspiration. The only downside is you can only get it the way it comes, and that's it. Should you buy brand new LC or search for a used bargain? That question is kind of outdated. You can't get new LCs anymore, so you have to get used ones. I'm already seeing the price go up drastically as soon as they announce no more orders for the LC new. Now, if you already did order one at the time of me videotaping this, which will be very soon to the launch of this video, you will still get it, is what I'm told. I think you might still get it. So if you already have an order with your dealership, if it's in the sold order system, you will probably get your LC. Is the LC gonna be a future classic? Almost definitely, it already is. I think it's funny because rewinding 4 or 5 years ago, if I had too many LCs on the lot, I was nervous. I was like, oh, how are we gonna get rid of these cars? We had that custom Artisan Spirits one here. As soon as people started to realize the hidden gem that the LC is, it started to get hotter, and that is kind of around the time that Lexus decided to sunset it. So I think because of the V8s in the world are becoming more rare, so if you get a V8 LC, that alone is gonna be classic. Also, it's gonna hold up well. You know, we know that Lexus, it's not uncommon to get a 200, 300 mile vehicle. The LC will be exactly that. So V8, the fact that it is a unique Lexus, that they're not gonna make it anymore, all these things could make it relate to, dun, 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 kind of similar to a Mark IV Supra. And if you're a car guy, you know what I'm talking about. Supras now go for huge money than they did back when it was new. Last but not least is the question that I always get asked, and that is Lexus replacing the LC with another LC? The short answer is kinda. In my perspective, I will say, the new GR GT, and if you haven't seen that car, look it up right now, the Toyota GR GT, which is a real car, it looks like a concept, is going to be sold at Lexus dealerships, nationwide, internationally. This is more of a new LFA, and a current LC had a baby, and they made the GR GT. So even though it's gonna be a higher price point, it is a front engine rear-wheel drive, high-end sports car, almost hypercar, and that's gonna fill that space for the LC 500. Will Lexus in 5 years from now maybe get back into a $100,000 sports car? I think so. Because if you look at our sisters, or our mothers, as some call us, Toyota, you will see that the driver is back. The driving enthusiast brand is back. Things like the GR Corolla, the GR Yaris, the GR Supra, the MR2 talking about returning. All of these are cars that are just like what we had in the 90s with that brand. And that was a true driver's car. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think the GR-GT is the new LC? Do you think we're going down a direction that still has an enthusiast brand behind it? Let me know. And by the way, if you do own an LC and you live in Canada or even the States, call me, email me, dustin.mason@performance.ca. We have built a really special LC community. Last year we did an event and we had this really cool drone shot of all the LCs lined up in front of AMLO Winery here in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I love introducing LC owners to other LC owners. You guys have been a blast to get to know, and I can't wait to grow that community, so make sure you reach out. I'm Dustin Mason from Performance Lexus in St. Catharines. Make sure you hit like and subscribe for more Lexus content.